Okay folks, a little different video today. I'm doing a bit of a lighting upgrade in the shop. So I picked up this 4-foot shop light at Value Village for $7. Now this is a T12, but that doesn't matter for our purpose because we're going to convert it over to LED. These are ballast bypass, and see if we can get some pictures here. If I can, I might stick one at the end. Now this particular light is rated for both. You can either do a single end, shown here, or a double end. Now, when you buy these, you can get a number of different lights. You can get ballast bypass, which is ideal because you get rid of the ballast, and that can be your problem. That's one less thing to go wrong. Or you can get ones that work with your ballast. You just take your fluorescent out, stick your LED in. That does not solve your problem if your ballast is bad. And for the ballast bypass, so this is a T8 replacement. So that just, it's the size of it. Now this is a T12, so it originally took a little bigger fixture, or a little bigger lamp, but the fixture ends are the same. 2 pins on each side, so your T8, your T10, and your T12 all have the same ends. Now, I've been an electrician for well over half my life. About half my life. I've never seen a T10 fixture or bulb ever. Lots of 5s, 10s, or 5s, 8s, and 12s. Never 10. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, you can get lamps with a single pin or a double pin. Double pin's far more common. So this is still pretty new technology. They haven't standardized yet. So some of these you'll get will be dual rated like this one. Some of them will be like you can only put power to one end. Some of them you can only do neutral on one end, hot on the other. So I'm going to show you what to do to the ballast or to the fixture for each scenario. So let's come in, let's get this off first. Now this is a shop light, they're pretty easy to take apart. This one has 2 screws. Some of them don't even have that. Some of them just have a tab on one end and a quarter turn nut on the other. This one's got 2 screws. So that takes our ballast cover and lens off. And we'll bring the camera in a little closer and show you what we got inside. Alright. We'll center up on the trash can. Make life easier. So this being a T12, the way it's going to be wired is that you have 4 lamp conductors coming out of the ballast. You're going to have, pull that right off so you can see. You're going to have 2 going to each tombstone on one end. These are, we call these tombstones because they look like a tombstone. And on the other end, you're going to have 2 going to it, and then a jumper in between them. None of this really matters because all we're going to do for this lamp, because it'll do either way, we're going to take all the ones going to one end, put them together, all the ones going to the other end, put them together. Now the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm assuming that they're going to standardize with, eventually, with power to one end, neutral to the other. Because the lamps that just have a single pin on each side, that's the only way you can do it. So, we're going to do that. Now this ballast, you can take it out, you can leave it in, doesn't matter. We're going to take it out. If you were somewhere where it's going to be hard to get rid of SID ballast, you know, for your waste collection, stuff like that, just leave it in there. It's not hurting a thing, unless it's leaking. Alright, and of course we got a One of those stupid stamp steel nuts, or is it a real nut? That's a real nut. Okay, I'm just going to pause the camera and get some tools to take that out. I just loosened that out with a pair of needle nose. This stuff usually isn't all that tight. You usually do have to hold the back of this. Sometimes they're captured, sometimes they're not. Cheaper ones won't be. And the size of that will vary depending on the fixture. So that gets rid of our ballast. Now we've got power wires in here to deal with as well. So let's get those out of the picture here for a second. Now we're back in frame. All right. So on this particular fixture, they had the neutral going directly to the, what do with that ballast? They had the neutral going directly to one end of the fixture. You won't always find that. So your ballast will have a diagram on it almost always. So you can see on this one, white goes to your lamps, and it'll just jump back to your ballast, but that doesn't matter. So on this particular one, we lucked out because we need the neutral on one end, and it's already there. So all we're going to do now is remove these. I'm not going to remove them yet because I'm going to show you how to hook it up if it was a different type of bulb here. And then we're going to connect all these together, and they're too short, of course. I'll have to get a piece of wire. This will put power to that end, neutral to this end, and all we are going to do, if you look right here, these two whites are jumpered together on this end already. So that, pretend that's one wire, and then it goes over to here. So, see how easy that came out? Usually don't come out that easy, but if you turn these, they usually will pull right out. So I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to jumper, just kind of daisy chain from one to the next. But before I do that, we're going to cover the other connection. So we're going to spin this around. If you had the fixture, keep this in frame. If you had a fixture and you had lamps that were labeled like this on one end only, so all the power would go to the other end, what you'd do is you'd pull all the wires out of the other end, make them disappear, and on this end you would take, and you do the same on both. You would put neutral to your yellow, power to your red, and because it's a 2-lamp fixture, we'll put just like that. Now what we have is a universal bulb, and like I say, I'm assuming this style with power on just one end is going to disappear. I might be completely wrong on that, but we'll see. So let's jumper these together. Try and get you over here. I know, shoddy camera work. So. Oops, wrong thing. You could put these all under a Marette, but I'm just cheating a little bit. So there, these are all linked together. So it comes in on this side, jumps over to here, and from here it jumps over to the right, and then back to the right on this side. So this, all 4 of these are connected. That's our neutral done. Now on the other side, we need to make this longer. I'm just using what wires we have here. Now there are several reasons that you might want to switch over to LED. So probably the biggest one right now is availability of bulbs, ballasts, stuff like that. We're moving away from fluorescence because your flash, this is not the right pliers for doing this, by the way. Fluorescents have phosphorus in them, and they have mercury in them. Not very much, but a little bit. But trying to phase that stuff out. You know, when there was no alternative, that was fine. But we have LED alternatives now, so we don't need that stuff. I'll probably have to frame again, aren't I? Now let's zoom back a little bit. Alright. I got tired of using the crappy shop tools. These are not the ones I usually use for electrical. It's just some... Oh yeah. Okay. So, over time, with the current, your insulation will actually melt to your wires. So, when that happens, it makes it harder to get them off. And some wires are worse than others. Lots of times where you pull a fixture apart and there'll just be one wire, just whatever, I guess the reel it came off of is a little more susceptible to heat. And sometimes everyone's like that, which is a real pain in the ass. Okay. Back in there. So putting a lot of wires together in one joint like this, not a big deal for me because I do it all the time. For some people, it can be challenging. Just, if you're having issues with it, make them nice and long, keep the insulation all together, and then turn them together, and then you can trim it after. Alright. Might need a bigger Marette for that one. There we go. All right, so that's pretty much it. This one's ready to go. We'll put the cover on, put a bulb in it here in a second. So this is on a T12 fixture. Like I was saying before, if you have a T8, they're going to be wired a little bit different. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Follow the diagram on your lamp. That's the easiest way. We're going to stick this in. If you have an option, you know, if it says on your bulb, get the one that does either or, 2 ends or both ends. That way, later on, they'll be compatible with whatever comes out. Now that's not why I bought them. I bought them because it was the cheapest option on Amazon. And these lamps run about, bulbs run about $10 a piece here in Canada right now on Amazon. Now, I don't believe these ones do, but some of these, the ends will turn on them. The reason they do that is because certain fixtures, tombstones go in on different angles, and it's just the way certain fixtures are made. And at one time that didn't matter because your lamps would produce light all the way around. These ones are directional, so be mindful of that. If you have like a 2 foot by 4 foot ceiling lamp, like a recessed one in the ceiling, take a look at it before you buy your lamps because you might find tombstones on their side. All right, I'm gonna pause. You can get a cord, and we'll try this out. All right, I got that plugged in. Now let's, oops, drop the cord. See how she works. Oh, there we go. Nice. That should give off plenty of light. And there is another big advantage to these LEDs. They're not just efficient because they're LED. The big thing with lighting or any electricity is losses are normally in the form of heat. That's why electric heating is usually 100% efficient, because your losses are what you're trying to create anyway. A lot less heat. So you could put these like in a freezer or something. If you had a big freezer, had a lot of lights in it, you wouldn't be heating your freezer with your lights while you're trying to cool it. Also, in big projects, you get a lot more of these on a circuit than you can anything else, because they draw right around half the power, thereabouts. Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. I'm going to take this back apart because I forgot to put a pull cord in it that I wanted. And we'll get this in the shop and then see how it looks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.